Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. My name is Julie Skiving, and I've been a member of the church since 2015 when I moved to Moscow. I feel like it's a privilege to be one amongst you, and I'm happy to be here today. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all those who are joining us for the first time. We are very glad that you are here. If you've come in person, you should have received a welcome packet with the information card in it. If you fill that out and drop it in the offering basket, we will be in touch to support you in finding your way into our community. If you are joining us online, there's a link on our website to an electronic version of that same card. Our welcoming committee members wear yellow name tags and can get you a welcome packet, answer any questions, and point you toward additional information. Whether you are new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after the service, either downstairs, in our fellowship hall, or in our Zoom room. And now let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you scrolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people, many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. Now we will take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, we're going to show the people joining us on Zoom. If you are at home, please turn on your camera. People at home, wave. Now people who are attending the service in our building, it's your turn to wave. We do have a couple of announcements. Today, we are featuring a work by composer Nancy Carroll. There is a dearth of representative art music written by female African-American composers, published and recorded for commercial and scholarly distribution. Dr. Carroll has written over 300 vocal, choral, and piano works during her career. In the past 25 years, she has concentrated on instrumental music, writing works featuring the bassoon and dedicated to Professor Javier Rodriguez, who's joining us today.
Do you want to wave?
Dr. Rodriguez has established the Nancy Carroll Collection at the Lionel Hampton School of Music and University of Idaho libraries that contain the engraved published scores to Dr. Carroll's previously self-published works. We are excited for him to share some of this project with us today. There will be a new to UU workshop with light lunch planned for next Sunday, February 18th at 11:45 a.m. downstairs. If you're new to our church, please join Reverend Elizabeth there. There are members of our community who need or want people around them to be masked. So we have reserved the left side of the sanctuary marked with yellow ribbons for people who are willing to mask. We have masks at both entrances if you need one. If you're not wearing a mask, you can sit anywhere you'd like. Also, if you remember last week, the performer Jalen Terry, trumpet, he has a recital coming up this Saturday, the 17th, at 4 o'clock at the Lionel Hampton School of Music, Haddock Recital Hall. And our very own Alex has a recital the same day, but it's at 2 o'clock. Remember, that's Lionel Hampton School of Music in the Haddock Recital Hall. I went to his last one and it was amazing.
So we just hang out all afternoon?
Yeah, make a day of it. Here end the announcements. We preface our service by acknowledging our church was built on the ancestral homelands of the Nimi-Ipu, called Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders, the Palouse, and the Stitsa-Umsh. Remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that was stolen, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. We're hoping that folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together.
In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share. Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens, and I have the incredible honor of serving this congregation as its minister. Today is the second in our month-long series of services focusing on the work of Black feminists. Our featured thinker today is Adrienne Marie Brown, author of Emergent Strategy and Pleasure Activism. How many of you are familiar with her work? Few hands. So Brown offers a way of understanding organizing and leading and being in community and creating justice that really resonates for me. First, she focuses on the importance of imagination. We imagine together the world that we're dreaming of, the world that could be. And then she uses a number of metaphors from the natural world to reinforce the idea that when we are embodied, we can intuitively find a way forward that is in formation with others who have unique identities and roles to play, but who share our values. Like murmurations of starlings or schools of fish or mycorrhizal networks, she teaches that we humans have ways of sensing, communicating, responding, and reinforcing one another that function at a deeper level than intellectual constructs of identity or opinion. After all, we are a part of the natural world, held by the interdependent web of all life, made of star stuff and dirt and microbes, just like all other living things. So what if the way to be most effective in our justice making is to tune into our own animal bodies and trust our intuition? We'll hold that question together this morning. But first, let's sing our opening hymn, Be the Change, from the Social Justice Choir book. You should have gotten music when you came in? Okay, we can get more music.
All right, let's start with the hand thumb. So
Good morning. I am Ginger Yoder, and I'm the Director of Family Ministries, which is just a fancy way to say I do all the stuff with the kids. And I'm back today after a month of medical leave. Yay! I had a month of medical leave. I had a hysterectomy, and I'm back, and I feel actually better than I could have imagined a month out. So I'm really, really, really glad to be back. And today we're having, I usually tell a story or the kids come up, and today is actually a super special, different day. So I'm gonna have the kids stay in your seat, but maybe get on your knees so you can really watch, because we have Ola coming up to do a dance, and I'm gonna invite her up to introduce what she's doing and give a little context, and then we will get to enjoy this. I'm really excited. Thank you for being willing to do this.
Hi everyone. My name is Olamide. So I'll be performing a dance from Yoruba part of Nigeria, West Africa. So the meaning of the song is Eshere. The lyrics is Eshere, but what it means is live well and make the world a better place now that you are here. Thank you.
Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Eshere kó dára, eshere kó dára o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Ó dọ̀wọ́ yín ẹ ṣayére, ó dọ̀wọ́ yín ẹ ṣayére o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Ó dọ̀wọ́ yín ṣayére, ó dọ̀wọ́ yín ẹ ṣayére o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére. Ó dọ̀wọ́ rẹ ṣayére, ó dọ̀wọ́ yín ẹ ṣayére o, ẹ̀yin ayé kan ẹ ṣayére.
Thank you so much for that. That was amazing. And now I invite our children to come to their classes, and we'll sing them out with the reed benediction.
Now let's take a moment to engage in the practice of generosity together. For those of you able to make a financial contribution, the logistics are on your screen. We typically give away all of the cash from our Sunday offering to local charities whose mission aligned with our values, a program called the Month of Sundays. This month, the recipient is Sojourners Alliance, whose mission is to confront the barriers that lead to hunger, homelessness, and poverty through direct intervention with those in need by providing a safe and comfortable living environment while receiving intensive case management. To donate, please indicate Month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we will now take some time to practice generosity together.
Out and tell your story, let it echo far and wide. Let them hear you, make them hear you. How justice was a battle and how justice was denied. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And say to those who blame us for the way we chose to fight, that sometimes there are battles that are more than black or white. And I did not put down my sword when justice was denied. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Go out and tell your story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And tell them in our struggles we were not the only ones. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Your words can be the battle or the power of the pen. Teach every child to raise their voice, and then, my brothers, then will justice be demanded from 10 million righteous men. Make them hear you. When they hear you, I'll be with you
Sorry, tears and goosebumps. That was beautiful, thank you. So for our time of meditation today, I want to ease us into it with the first part of a poem by Adrienne Mary Brown. It's called "This is the Only Moment, Species Love Poetry." So I'd invite you to get comfortable, take a few deep breaths. You're in a space where you are safe, where you are supported. Again, these are the words of Adrienne Marie Brown. I can't stop being in the present, noticing how the past tells me what I should care about, and the future tells me what I should fear, and the past tells me what we forgot, and the future tells me what we must dream. But here, I breathe in, noticing the gift I too often take for granted, Not knowing how many breaths I have left, I want to spend them being love. I have done so much, so many tasks, but what has mattered most has been the listening to the thirsting dirt, to the spiraling wind in the wake of murmuration, to the drumbeat of ant feet moving abundance with a million hands, the sacred erotic of pollination, the orgasmic opening of mushrooms pulling the yes for miles underground, the innocent violence of predators feeding their children, the way the wild wastes nothing, the way the cedar gives me permission to pray. Let's rest in the silence for a moment together. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you, Javier. As you've probably noticed, we have a number of very, very special guests today. We reached out to the Black Student Union at the University of Idaho to see if there might be folks interested in contributing to our services this month. And I just want to acknowledge that this is a really busy month at the BSU with a number of special events. So I'm so appreciative to all of you for making the time to be here with us this morning. Now, our guest of honor in absentia is Adrienne Marie Brown, who describes herself as an auntie, sister, daughter, whoa. That's a part of Drake's crew. It means someone who works on excellence. A writer, facilitator, coach, mentor, mediator, pleasure activist, sci-fi scholar, doula, healer, tarot reader, witch, cheerleader, singer, philosopher, queer, Black, multiracial lover of life living in Detroit. Yeah, I makes me want to move to Detroit, just so we could be friends. She offers principles for creating justice and compassion-based communities that replace what she describes as individualistic, linear organizing led by charismatic individuals or budget-building institutions with full-bodied, collaborative environments where people understand that the strength of our movement is in the strength of our relationships, which could only be measured by their depth. Scaling up means going deeper, being more vulnerable and more empathetic. So her principles, the principles that she suggests should guide our work are these. Small is good. Small is all. The large is a reflection of the small. Change is constant. Be like water. There's always enough time for the right work. There's a conversation in the room that only these people at this moment can have. Find it. Never a failure, always a lesson, Trust the people. If you trust the people, they become trustworthy. Move at the speed of trust. Focus on critical connections more than critical mass. Build the resilience by building the relationships. Less prep, more presence. And last but not least, what you pay attention to grows. Today we're going to offer an exploration of what it looks like to allow our lives to be shaped by these principles, interspersed with the opportunity to deepen relationships with all of our guests, beginning with Wachira Kariuki and Spencer Cuppage. They're going to perform Go Down Moses for us.
When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they couldn't stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus spake the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, thus might your firstborns dead, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go.
So in that list of identities that Adrienne Marie Brown claims, did you notice she lifted up sci-fi scholar? So she's a big sci-fi nerd, and in particular, a fan and a scholar of the work of Octavia Butler. Now, some of you may have been around a few years ago when my colleague and friend, the Reverend Cynthia Landrum, offered a service that focused on Butler's work. What Brown finds in Butler's work are primarily two things: a coherent, visionary exploration of humanity, and emergent strategies for being better humans. Those are her words, so I'm going to read them one more time. A coherent, visionary exploration of humanity and emergent strategies for being better humans. For Brown, we embody, we learn, we release the idea of failure because it's all data. But first, we imagine, she continues. She continues, we are in an imagination battle. Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and Renisha McBride and so many others are dead because in some white imagination they were dangerous. And that imagination is so respected that those who kill based on an imagined racialized fear of black people are rarely held accountable. Imagination has people thinking they can go from being poor to a millionaire as part of a shared American dream. Imagination turns brown bombers into terrorists and white bombers into mentally ill victims. Imagination gives us borders, gives us superiority, gives us race as an indicator of capability. I often feel I am trapped inside someone else's imagination, and I must engage my own imagination in order to break free. All of this imagining, she continues, in the poverty of our current system is heightened because of scarcity economics. There isn't enough, So we need to hoard, enclose, divide, fence up, and prioritize resources and people. We have to imagine beyond those fears. We have to ideate, imagine, and conceive together. We must imagine new worlds that transition ideologies and norms, so that no one sees black people as murderers or brown people as terrorists and aliens, but all of us as potential cultural and economic innovators. This is a time travel exercise for the heart. This is collaborative ideation. What are the ideas that will liberate all of us? The more people that collaborate on that ideation, the more people will be served by the resulting worlds. In a world that has been shaped by toxic hierarchies, patriarchy, white supremacy, classism, consumerism, and the like, we would be wise to make space to listen to the voices of people who hold historically marginalized identities. They are the ones who can tell us what is needed for all people, no exceptions, to flourish and thrive. Now, I take that language, of course, from the event at the Kenworthy last Sunday called Creating an Environment Where Black People Can Flourish and Thrive. Representatives from the Idaho Black Community Alliance shared their perspective on what we can do to support the Black folks in our community. If I were to summarize, it would be this. In this place, this part of the world that is so overwhelmingly majority white, we all need to take more initiative. We need to reach out to people of color in our community. It's on us to build relationships and to offer support in the form of friendship. And we also need to put our money where our mouth is and support Black-led organizations, Black-owned businesses, and Black student groups like the Black Student Union. And with that, I'll invite forward Maria Dominguez to share some poems with us.
Hello. No, it doesn't. Do I just use my voice? Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Dominguez. I'm a student at the University of Idaho, and I am a part of the Black Student Union Club. Today, I want to share with you the inspiring story of Rosa Parks, an essential figure in the American Civil Rights Movement. Rosa Parks, born in 1913, was a courageous African-American woman who played a crucial role in challenging racial segregation in the United States. I'd like to share with you all today 2 amazing poems written about Rosa Parks. First one is named Rosa's Ride. Rosa Parks was on the bus, and man said, "Get in the back." The seats in front were just for whites, and Rosa's skin was black. But Rosa would not move an inch. She said it was unfair. She knew she had the right to sit and do it anywhere. Now we're free to choose our seats on every bus in town, thanks to Rosa, who took a stand and did it sitting down. Secondly, the poem is named Rosa Parks by Rosa Mayfair. I knew what she did, but I didn't know her name until she died. Now I'm not going to lie to you, so I won't claim that I cried. But I never thought about how brave she was in refusing to move from the seat on that bus. Now I think it's sad that it caused such a stir, that because of her skin, they thought less of her, that they tried to make her feel like she was 2 feet small, and I think it's sad that she had to be brave at all. In conclusion, Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat was not just a personal act of defiance, but a spark that ignited a larger movement for civil rights. Her courageous and determination remind us all of the power of individuals to challenge injustice and inspire positive change. As we reflect on her legacy, let us continue to work towards a more just and equal society where the principles of equality and the respect are upheld for all. Thank you.
So to support her theory that change can happen in these organic ways by focusing small and working on what's in front of us, by building trust and deepening connections, Brown lifts up a number of examples from nature and asserts, after all, aren't we part of nature too? She talks about mycelium and the way it breaks down plant matter, detoxifies it, and moves it, sometimes miles and miles, so that it gets exactly where it needs to go. She's also fascinated by ants and the way they communicate and cooperate, and the way fish school and birds fly in formation, a phenomenon known as murmuration. She writes, here's how it works in a murmuration, shoal, or swarm. Each creature is tuned into its neighbors, the creatures right around it in the formation. This might be the birds on either side or the 6 fish in each direction. There is a right relationship, a right distance between them. Too close and they crash, too far away and they can't feel the micro-adaptations of the other bodies. Each creature is shifting direction, speed, and proximity based on the information of the other creature's bodies. There's a deep trust to this. To lift because the birds around you are lifting. To live your life based on your collective real-time adaptations. In this way, thousands of birds or fish or bees can move together, each empowered with basic rules and a vision to live. Imagine our movements cultivating this type of trust and depth with each other. Imagine having strategic flocking in our playbooks. I love that, strategic flocking. It's a gorgeous concept. And now I invite forward Reem Tekle. Tekle or Tekel? Reem, this is Reem.
President of the Black Student Union. So thank you so much for having us here, and this is all due to Dr. Salisbury, and if it wasn't for her, we would not be here with all of my other students. Today I'll be reading a poem. It's called Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. As you might know her, she is a very poetic person and goes down to history as a Black woman, and a very strong one that I look up to. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in a very dirty, but still like dust I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with their certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I will rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head, lowered eyes, shoulder falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my hyenas found offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I would laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I will rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it become a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that is rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and tide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide. Leaving behind the nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
I want to revisit the principles that Adrienne Marie Brown lifts up. So that first one, small is good, small is all, the large is a reflection of the small. What I hear in these words is that my job is not to save the whole world, but to live with integrity, kindness, and generosity here and now. Change is constant. Be like water. Water finds a way to flow. It gradually shapes the landscape in beautiful and dramatic ways. And though it seems like individual drops of water barely make an imprint, they come together in ever greater, wider, deeper bodies, all moving in the same direction. This principle reminds me to be gentle but inexorable, to stay flexible but to keep going. There's always enough time for the right work. At the center of this principle lives a reminder that we need to say no sometimes to make room for a deeper yes. There's also a sense of compassion and self-forgiveness. If I don't have time for something, maybe it's not the right work for me. There is a conversation in the room that only these people at this moment can have. Find it. What conversations are opening up for us in this room or downstairs during coffee hour? I know I'm asking myself, how can I be in formation with these amazing humans who came to be with us today? How can I support them and how can I follow their lead? Never a failure, always a lesson. As Brown puts it, it's all data. When we cultivate an ethic of experimentation, we free ourselves from the prison of we've always done it this way. This is such an important discipline at this particular moment when the way we've always done it is clearly causing so much harm to people and the planet. Trust the people. If you trust the people, they become trustworthy. Trustworthy people are not perfect people. They are people who do their best to do what they've said they will do and who communicate clearly if circumstances make it impossible to come through. They're people who aren't afraid to apologize, who see breaches in trust as opportunities to learn and grow. Just as bones are stronger in the places they've broken and healed, sometimes relationships get stronger in the places where trust has been broken, but both parties stay in the game, remain invested enough to do the work of repair. Move at the speed of trust. Focus on critical connections more than critical mass. Build the resilience by building the relationships. Around here we talk about things moving at the speed of church. But really they're moving at the speed of trust because no one makes decisions unilaterally. We take the time to invite people into the conversation. We understand that while listening to and incorporating multiple points of view makes our discernment processes take longer, but we wind up with better answers than any one person or even a smaller group could find on their own. Less prep, more presence. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Early in my career, I spent a lot of time rehearsing conversations in my head. Now, I might think a little about structure or a starting point, but I've learned that if I show up, if I listen carefully to the people in the room and then pause and listen for the voice within, things unfold in wonderful and unpredictable ways. All that prep is just a bunch of wasted energy. I invite you now to listen to the second part of Adrienne Marie Brown's poem, This is the Only Moment, Species Love Poetry. I thought someone else had all of the instructions, and I, stumbling and following, praying to become worthy, must admit I have been grieving and grieving all I don't know and don't trust, and grieving so the last of Brown's principles is what you pay attention to grows. So our task then is to pay attention to the goodness we see in our community, in these students, in our town, in our world, and in our own minds, hearts, and lives. Let's focus less on the things that are broken and dying, and more on the abundant signs of hope, rebirth, and regeneration. Let's be awake and alert for the new patterns and ideas and efforts that are creating health and justice and beauty in our world. Let's imagine the world as it could be and move in formation, centering the voices that have the wisdom we need to survive. Let's keep moving, evolving, and loving our way into a future that is worthy of our children. So be it, and so may it be. I invite you to rise now and sing in body, or rise in body or spirit, and sing "Come and Go" with me. Our closing reading is the last part of the poem. This is the Only Moment, Species Love Poetry by Adrienne Marie Brown. And when I listen, the universe is teaching that control is impossible, and the season will change. And enough is a feeling that cannot be measured. And the small circle is the deepest. And I cannot teach anyone what I have not practiced. Anyone but myself. And I will never feel free in a position of demand. And I musical benediction. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. Julie, do you mind going down there and blowing it out? We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. So flow and float, deepen and listen, trust, and above all, love. Go in peace. Come back next Sunday.